Support WrestleTalk!
Follow us on Twitter.
I don't think this is the spiciest of hot takes when I say that Roman Reigns is not getting over as a babyface in WWE. It's not just that the company have booked him in pointless feuds that no one could possibly care about. His matches have become extremely boring. His main event outing against Samoa Joe was nothing but rest holds and chin locks, and the crowd booed it. So how did they counter that at Money in the Bank? Jinder locked in some chin locks and rest holds. Yep, that'll turn the crowd around. And then Roman makes his comeback. Superman punch, ooh-wah, spear, 1, 2, 3, no one cares. He can cry about being the uncrowned Universal Champion, but no one is buying into it. Kids like Roman, but kids will like who you tell them to like. You can put anyone in that position and kids will buy their t-shirts. It feels like we're past the point of no return with Roman. The crowd aren't all of a sudden going to change their minds and start cheering him, even if WWE booked him better and put him in storylines that were actually good. He should have won the Universal Championship at WrestleMania 34, but having said that, it wasn't going to get him over as a babyface to the hardcore WWE audience. I don't even think turning him heel is going to work at this point. I mean, it might, and it's a better idea than booking him in chinlock matches, but it's not a guarantee. I had a long drive to a friend's house the other day listening to an episode of Gorilla Position when I had a bit of a brainwave. An idea that, as crazy as it sounds, might get Roman Reigns over as a babyface to the hardcore audience. You fire him. Fire him from WWE. Release him from his contract. Roman Reigns gets fired. Can you imagine the headlines? Can you imagine the buzz it would create online where the WWE hardcore audience lives? If they woke up one morning to see that WWE.com had announced that they had come to terms with the release of Roman Reigns and they wished him the best of luck in his future endeavors. We here at WrestleTalk would have a field day making videos, and we wouldn't be the only ones. Now, of course, Roman wouldn't actually be fired. He would be fired in the sense that he wouldn't have a contract, but this is 100% a worked firing, set up by WWE Roman and Vince McMahon. You can leak news to the likes of the Wrestling Observer and PW Insider that Roman Reigns and Vince McMahon had a row backstage about the direction of his character and his push, and that led to his firing. Leak reports that this was years of pent-up frustration that finally came out in one explosive argument. So as far as the wrestling world knows, Roman Reigns is fired from WWE and he is pissed off. Now you play the waiting game. In reality, Roman wouldn't be allowed to wrestle for another company for 90 days, so keep to that. But in the meantime, arrange for him to appear on podcasts like Talk is Jericho and Steve Austin Unleashed under his real name, Joe Anoa'i, where he can cut the mother of all worked shoots. Think of it like CM Punk's famous Art of Wrestling interview. Talk about his failed push. Talk about the crowd reactions. Talk about beach balls. Talk about not wanting to main event so many WrestleManias. Voice the same frustrations that many fans have had with the Roman Reigns character. Appeal to those fans. Stroke their egos. He can also announce on those podcasts that he's not done with professional wrestling and he's now available for bookings. Once the 90 days are up, Joe Anoa'i can make his professional wrestling return at a show like Evolve, a company that WWE has a good relationship with. Have him cut anti-WWE promos to make sure you have people on his side. Make sure that the content of his promos are focused on trying to make it up to wrestling fans and how they were right about the Reigns character. Picture this, Anoa'i is now working for several independents, doing some regular work with Evolve and Progress, ICW and others. I mean, he's technically a free agent, so he can work for whoever wants to book him. Just make sure he doesn't sign an exclusive deal. Hell, he could get booked for All In, or at the very least Starcast to do a shoot interview panel about his WWE run. The key to this is that Anoa'i is free to show what a good wrestler he really is when he's not constrained to chinlock on a pole matches. Imagine if the guy that the online wrestling community hated was suddenly getting 4- and 5-star matches in the Wrestling Observer newsletter. And when the time is right, leak details that WWE have reached out to Anoa'i about possibly returning. And when I say the time is right, I'm thinking a year or so down the line, maybe even a couple of years. Really stretch this out. Turn Anoa'i into an indie darling. And when he does return to the fold, send him to NXT as Joe Anoa'i. Drop Roman Reigns entirely. Wrestling fans didn't like Roman Reigns, but they might like Joe Anoa'i. Have him work in NXT for a year or so and do a couple of takeover shows to get some more good matches under his belt, then bring him up to the main roster with an almost CM Punk style "I'm here to make a change" change gimmick. Acknowledge his previous Roman Reigns run, acknowledge that it didn't work and he didn't like it. This is the new and improved Joe Anoa'i, and his new contract with WWE means he has some backstage power to make a change. If WWE don't book him in chinlock matches afterwards, this stands a good chance of getting Roman Reigns, sorry Joe Anoa'i, over as a babyface in the company. Look, it's not guaranteed to work and it requires WWE not having its top star around for a couple of years, but there is a chance that it could get him over. It is crazy, but it might just be crazy enough to work.
Delightfully devilish, Seymour.
We've got other opinion videos here at WrestleTalk, so click the videos on screen right now for more awesome wrestling content. I have been Luke Owen, and that is just my opinion.